This is Messed Up Moments in Comics, Volume 13.
Here we go!
Messed Up Moments in Comics that made us go,
What the is that?
Part 131. This is DC vs. Vampires issue number 2. And the issue starts off with this character, Anton Arcane. But somebody's hunting him. They're right behind him. And it's Green Lantern himself, Hal Jordan, who in the last issue we learned is a vampire. Hal busts through all of Anton's magic and does a straight up Mortal Kombat fatality and rips his spine out through his mouth before being contacted by whoever's pulling the strings. We then cut to a sunbathing Batgirl who's meeting up with Nightwing, and she seems to be hitting on him. But he's a bit oblivious and doesn't even realize. And it turns out that Batman called them all to the scene. But why? Let me explain. Batman calls the entire Bat family to Wayne Manor because he was contacted by a vampire. And Batman's afraid vampires might have been infecting multiple villains, which, spoiler alert, we find out they were. Bruce is afraid that multiple heroes might have already been turned to vampires. So as a precaution, all of their drinks were made with holy water. Now the Bat family is officially becoming vampire hunters. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Part 132. This is DC vs. Vampires issue number 2. And after Batman finds out that vampires are about to start a war with humans, he calls together the Bat family. And while he's explaining the dire situation to all of them, we see a group of villains meeting together in a park at night. Seems pretty inconspicuous so far, but let me explain why it's not. Our boy Oliver Queen shows up and murks one of the villains because he's a secret vampire. And while all of this is going on, Batman is further explaining the situation. But this is Bruce Wayne we're talking about. He doesn't trust anyone, so he has them all meet in broad daylight in the sunroom and douses all of their drinks with holy water, just in case any of them were vampires. He explains vampires could have infiltrated anywhere, I mean the Justice League even. That's when we see a secluded beach, and the Flash is doing laps. And Hal Jordan the Green Lantern even shows up. The two of them have a friendly chat and sit down about how much they trust each other. But Hal Jordan is a vampire, and whoever's pulling the strings says Flash is too much of a liability, so Hal takes out his best friend. Messed up moments in comics that made us go,
What the f?
Part 133. We are once again back to the gift that keeps on giving, DC vs. Vampires. We see Bruce in the Batcave, but someone else is there. He goes lights out because Barry Allen the Flash was just killed and he can't trust anyone. When suddenly a familiar arrow strikes through him. It was the Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, who says, "Sorry you had to go down this way, Bruce. I wasn't about to fight you toe to toe." Well, it is really about to suck to be you, Ollie, because that was a dummy, and Bruce is right behind you with a knife. The two immediately start beating the crap out of each other. I mean, it's getting pretty intense. They're both getting pretty bloodied up, until Batman gets the upper hand and is about to take out the Green Arrow when they finally start talking and realize neither one of them are vampires. Okay, good, finally, thank goodness they're both on the same team. Now they can finally work together. Oh, good. The rest of the Justice League's here. I say that sarcastically, considering Green Lantern is the one who turned Wonder Woman into a vampire and killed the Flash. So Ollie and Bruce fight for their lives, fending off the entire Justice League. Part 134. After Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, snuck into the Batcave, suspecting Batman was a vampire, the two of them talked it out and realized they were both on the same side. And that's when they had to work together to take on the entire Justice League. Bloodied and beaten, the Bat family made a quick getaway to their safe house, while Task Force X was dealing with their own vampire problem. But Green Lantern and Wonder Woman were able to track down the Bat family. And still recovering from their last battle, the Bat family is forced to fight again. And they actually have the upper hand. They even lasso up Wonder Woman and start burning her under lights. Things are finally coming together. It looks like they're finally going to be able to put a stop to this vampire problem and get to the bottom of who's behind this. Or will they? Because they were working under the assumption that the Joker was behind this. But Batgirl and the Suicide Squad found him, and he's already gone. She calls Batman to let him know, and that's when Nightwing impales Batman with his fist. He was the Vampire King all along. Part 135. This is Madeline Pryor. However, she might look familiar to you. Let me explain why. She's actually a clone of Marvel Girl, otherwise known as Jean Grey from the X-Men. And she was created by Mr. Sinister, who you may recognize from the 90s animated show. And, unfortunately for her, she basically had one motive: hook up with one of the Summers boys. So, she definitely makes her move. She hooks up with Havoc, Alex Summers, but like her original recipe counterpart, she has a slight affinity for Scott Summers, Cyclops. So, more or less, this character was solely created to mix genes with the Summers boys. You might be thinking to yourself, okay, Alex, it's pretty messed up. But whatever came of this character? Well, I'm glad you asked. After Jean Grey bonds with the Phoenix Force and becomes Dark Phoenix, she wipes Madeline Pryor out. Not before Madeline was able to have a child with Cyclops. That being fan favorite, Cable. Like and subscribe for more, consider becoming a member. and I'll catch you in the next one.